Hi, I'm Sophia Martin here with this week's episode of Beverly Hills Influence. Today we are joined by Josh Flagg. Josh Flagg graduated Beverly Hills High School in 2004 and went on to pursue a career in real estate, although he did begin this endeavor while in high school. He has made record sales in Los Angeles, and according to Forbes, he has sold over $1 billion worth of property. Today, he continues his career in real estate and stars on the show $1 Million Listings Los Angeles. Josh, thank you so much for joining me today.
Happy.
Before we dive into your career, I want to know a little bit more about you. So what were you like in high school?
Probably a little more interested in things that other kids were not interested. I was always interested in houses, design, real estate. Other kids were probably interested in football, soccer, and whatever sports that people play in high school, and that kind of stuff.
Well, it's great that you stayed true to yourself.
Right.
And what do you love most about our city? I mean, obviously, you just said that you're passionate about homes.
I like that, when I was younger, it wasn't as, like when you used to drive down or walk down Cannon when I was younger, there was like a couple of restaurants. There was La Scala, El Pastillo, some small boutiques and whatever, and now you go down and it's really like a totally different city. It's like there's hundreds of stores, there's people walking everywhere, there's people having a good time. It's just a little bit, it's not so much like a village, which is what it used to be like.
So now I want to kind of dive into your career and what made you get started in real estate. Why would you pursue real estate?
Well, I've always loved houses, and I've always loved design, and I've always loved architecture. And I love people. So if you put if you're a people person and you like design, you like architecture, you put it together, I mean, really what other job is there than a real estate broker?
Right.
So.
And were you always working for Rodeo Realty?
No. I've worked for Coldwell Banker. I've worked many different places. I like it here because I do my own thing. And it's really not about where you work. It's about, the business comes from me. I just, hang my license wherever I want to. It's really about myself. And, I grew up in LA, and I'm a fourth generation Los Angelino, and when you know a lot of people and you have, it's really, my career is really, probably is where it is because I really know about every single house in the city.
Right. And would you say that there's a different personality at each company? Like different personalities, there's Coldwell Banker, Rodeo Realty, Douglas Elliman.
I don't think so. I think it's all based on each individual broker and how much they know about the business, and knowledge is key. If you know everything, you're going to be successful. If you don't, then you're really not.
Right. So how did you accumulate clients, and especially celebrity clients, of which you're known for, at such a young age?
Well, I've been doing this since I was actually at Beverly Hills High School. My first deal I did was when I was 18. I remember being in math class and just literally, texting on the phone, and doing a deal. I was 18 when I graduated, so I was already licensed. I've just always loved people and houses, and I was always interested in selling them. Growing up here, it's not that hard to figure out how to maneuver and do that. I'm blessed that I grew up here.
We're surrounded by it. And do you have any mentors or people that you looked up to that helped you get started in real estate?
My grandmother was a big mentor. She was a big influence. My grandmother, was an amazing woman. She came here with $5 in her pocket to the United States and built a very large business, and was, lived here in LA. She knew everybody in Beverly Hills, and she had a fabulous place, and she was really an amazing woman. Very charitable, very influential in the town. And she gave me a lot of the values I have, and she taught me a lot, and definitely my hero, my inspiration.
That's so nice. And it sounds like she was able to help you a lot in figuring out that you did want to do real estate. And
yeah, she was very helpful.
That's really great. So what has been your favorite listing that you've had either now or in the past, something that's been memorable for you?
I liked probably selling a Betsy Bloomingdale's house in Holmby Hills. I sold that for around $40 million. That was a really fun sale. The house was filled with Billy Haynes furniture, and it was just it was a time warp, that house. It was just incredible. It was like it was from a time long ago, and it was really fun to sell that.
That sounds amazing. So where do you focus where you sell? Do you sell primarily in Beverly Hills, or you go obviously to Holmby Hills as well?
Sure, I sell basically everywhere, but my areas of expertise are the Bird Streets, anywhere north of Sunset off of Doheny, to Beverly Hills, Holmby Hills, Bel Air, all the way to Malibu.
And I want to also dive into something that you've also been doing. I don't know if it's on the side or if it's helped your career, but how were you chosen to be one of the stars of $1 Million Listing Los Angeles?
Well, I really approached them, actually. I mean, the show was on for the first year, and it was a show about it was like 10 or 12 agents on the show originally. This is going back 10 years ago, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is not that interesting. They should have really a more interesting show about 3 really dynamic personalities. And I called them up and I said, hey, let me film me, send it to New York, the tape, and see what they think. And they liked it, and they picked me.
So were they originally just doing the New York $1 Million Listing?
No,
or
New
they
York,
had
because that's where NBC Bravo is based out of. They're based
Okay.
out of New York. Our show was the first one. I'm the longest cast member, not oldest in age, but oldest on the show. Right. Being on for the most amount of years, between both Los Angeles and New York. So then New York came later, and now we have those 2 franchises.
That's very fun.
Yeah.
Did you ever have training in television, or you?
No, I'm just me on TV.
Was it hard getting used to that?
Was it hard getting used to that? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's not like going live on stage and talking in front of 1,000 people.
Right.
It's videotaped, so it's just in front of a camera guy.
Do you ever go home and watch the show yourself?
Well, I watch it before it comes out. I get a screener.
Okay.
So, but live on TV? No, not really.
And do you think that the fame that you've gotten from the show has negatively or positively affected your life?
Positively, obviously. It's a great form of advertisement. You know, agents spend tons of money advertising themselves, and this is like free publicity, technically.
Right. So I want to circle back around to, have you ever been, or what's the best advice you've ever been given?
I have to think about that one.
Or the best piece of advice maybe you could give to our audience or to future real estate?
Basically knowledge. I'm not saying like sit there and study all day long and take your head out of a book, but if you have a passion or if you really want to do something, then really just understand that career as much as you can. If that's what you want. If you want to be a doctor, understand it as much as you can. If you want to be a broker, understand every facet. The reason I'm so successful at what I do is I know everything about every single house in Beverly Hills, from the 500 block to the 800 block to the 1,000 block. I can tell you who lived there, when they bought it, how much they paid for it, what they own. I know every single thing about that house, and that's because it's interesting to me.
Right. So it sounds like you just really have to do something you're passionate about, and It sounds like
Exactly.
you found your passion.
100%.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today,
Happy.
and thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Beverly Hills Influence.